Hi, welcome to Beyond the Map, a podcast about travel, self-discovery, and the beauty found between destinations. I'm Francesca Page, and each week we'll explore the meaningful moments, mindful rituals, and hidden details that make every journey a little more human. There's something about travel that changes the way you see people. You leave your usual world behind, your routines, your familiar places, and when you come back, something shifts. Not just the places you've seen, but the ways you see people in your life. You start to notice things, the small gestures, the consistency, the quiet ways people show up. And today, that's what I've been thinking about. With Mother's Day coming up, the mothers I know, not just one version of a mother, but all the versions. The obvious ones and the ones you only recognize when you really stop and look. Because when we hear the word mother, it's easy to picture one role. But the truth is, I've seen all kinds of mothering. I've seen it in women who raise children, who've carried responsibility in ways most people never fully see. The early mornings, the late nights, the constant thinking ahead. The kind of care that doesn't clock out. I've seen it in stepmums who've stepped up to something complex and chose to love anyway. Not always perfectly, not always easily, but consistently. And I've seen it in godmoms who became a steady presence over time. And I've seen it in grandmothers who carry different kinds of strength, softer, calmer, but deeply grounding. And I've seen it in friends, friends who check in, friends who notice when something's off, friends who sit with you in the hard moments and don't try to fix it. They just stay. I think sometimes we don't realize how much we're being cared for while it's all happening. And it's really only later when you have a bit of distance, maybe you're somewhere unfamiliar, that it all starts to kind of make sense. Travel has a way of doing that. It creates space. And I found myself more than once sitting somewhere far from home, thinking about the people who shaped me, the ones who held things together, the ones who showed up, the ones who created stability in ways I didn't fully understand at the time, but feel deeply now. Because mothering doesn't always look big. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just quiet. It's making sure someone eats. It's remembering the small things. It's being the steady one when everything else feels uncertain. It's showing up again and again and, again. And when I think about the mothers I know, I think about strength, but not the kind we usually celebrate. The quiet strength, the kind that keeps going, the kind that adapts, the kind that carries more than it ever says out loud. And I think about the imperfect moments too, because motherhood is not perfect. It's very human, very real, and it's learning as you go. It's getting things wrong sometimes, but it's showing up anyway. And I want to say this too. I've also been a single mom. And that experience changes how you see all of this. It gives you a deeper understanding of what it really means to show up every day, to carry that responsibility even when you are tired, to make decisions even when you're unsure, and to be the steady one even when you don't always feel steady, which is frequently. And now I'm also a stepmom, and that's a different kind of journey. It's learning where you fit. It's building trust over time. It's showing up without forcing your place. It's choosing care, choosing patience, choosing to be present, even when the role isn't always clearly defined. And that's taught me something too, that motherhood isn't one fixed identity. It's something that grows, it shifts, it expands. And sometimes, well, it's something you step into more than once in your life and completely different in different ways. And all of it has given me, at least, a deeper appreciation for every kind of support that exists around us. From the people who step in, for the people who help hold things together, for the people who remind you you're not doing it alone. And then something shifts. At some point, you start noticing how you show up for yourself. Because whether it's travel or motherhood or just life, you don't always have the same safety nets. So you start just becoming one. You learn to check in with yourself. What do I need right now? You learn to pause when things feel overwhelming instead of pushing straight through. You learn to be patient with yourself when things don't necessarily go to plan, and slowly you start building something within you, a kind of steadiness, a kind of support, a kind of care. And in a way, you start learning how to mother yourself. And that can feel very unfamiliar, but it's also extremely powerful because it means you're creating something that stays with you wherever you go. And maybe that's part of what all the mothers I know have taught me, not just through words, but through the way they have lived. They showed me what it looks like to keep going, to care deeply, to be present, to hold space for others, and when possible, to hold space for yourself too. So today, I'm thinking about them, all of them. The ones that raised me, the ones that guided me, the ones who showed up in quiet ways that meant more than they probably know. And maybe you're thinking about someone too. Or maybe you're starting to recognize that in yourself, because beyond the map is about the places we go, and beyond the versions of ourselves we discover along the way. There are people who shape us, who ground us, who remind us who we are, even when we feel a little lost. So, wherever you are today, I hope you take a moment to appreciate the mothers you know in all of their forms, in all of their imperfections, in all of their quiet strength. And maybe to appreciate the parts of that are growing in you too. Because sometimes the journey isn't just about finding yourself. It's also about realizing how much of what you were looking for was already there. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to follow and subscribe to Beyond the Map so you don't miss what's next. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, I'll say this. Share this with them. I'll see you next time on Beyond the Map. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Map. And if today's episode brought a little inspiration to your travels or just reminded you to slow down and savor the small things, I'd love for you to follow the show and leave a quick review. Until then, keep packing light, living deeply, and discovering the beauty that exists beyond the map.